All right. So once again, I would like to welcome you to the network defense class on the cybersecurity training course organized by NCS Plateau, ISOC Nigeria. I'm happy that you joined this session. Now, in today's class, we are going to be looking at three things. Number one, before I go ahead, I would like to confirm if you can hear me. Can anyone hear me? Let me know before I go ahead.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. So
Yes,
we're
sir, we can hear you.
going to be looking at three things. Number one, I will be logging into the network defense course environment. I will just show us an overview of what the course is all about, give us an introductory view of what we are expected, what is expected of us from this course. And then the second phase is we're going to look at Module 1 of our course. And after that, the third phase is we're going to look at a packet tracer activity. It's like a small hands-on demonstration. So each class we come, we have 2 hours. We will try to see how we can work within the time to achieve this. We're recording the sessions and we intend to put the recordings on the website. You just go to ncsplateau.org.ng/cybersecurity. Then you will see the recording over there. And you can share it for those that who were not able to make it. All right. So having said that, let me share my screen on the aspect of where is it? My browser. Just a moment, please. Let me go to my browser. Here. Okay, here you are. Okay. All right. So at this moment, I want to find out, can you see my browser? Can you see?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Now
We can see, but it's
very small, right?
very
Yes, I'm going to try and zoom it also. The most important thing is
faint, like faint.
Okay, it's faint.
Okay.
Let me see. Share. Okay. All right. How about now? Can you see my screen?
No,
Yep.
no, sir, we can see. I
Better.
can see it from
Yeah, we can see a lot better.
there.
Okay.
It's just dark. Yeah, dark.
It's okay. It's okay. The screen is okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for the confirmation. Now, this environment is where you're going to be carrying out your class activities. All you need to do is you go to your browser and type netacad.com. Once you go to netacad.com, I'm sure by now you have already been enrolled in the class that you want to be enrolled, and then you log in. All right, I've already logged in. That's why you see my name here. And then once you log in, I'm an instructor, so my profile may be a little bit different. But basically, you're going to see network, Nigeria cyber network defense. You're going to see this. Now, once you see this, I'm going to show you two things. One is the course outline, and two is the resources, right? Now, in the course outline, you could see the course introduction, Module 1, understanding defense, okay? And you will see introduction, defense in-depth, cybersecurity operations management, security policy regulation standards, understanding defense summary. After that, we'll be looking at Module 2. Module 2 is talking about system and network defense. All right, Module 3, and under that, we'll be looking at physical security, application security, network hardening services and protocols. We'll look at network hardening segmentation. We'll look at hardening wireless and mobile devices. We'll look at cybersecurity resilience. We'll look at embedded and specialized systems. We'll look at system and network defense summary. Okay. Then Module 3, we'll be looking at access control. Access control. Under access control, we'll be looking at access controls, then access control concepts, account management, AAA usage and operation. Let me zoom it so that you guys can see it much better. AAA usage and operation, access control summary. After that, you guys will be able to write what we call a checkpoint exam. And the checkpoint exam is just a small exam that will be recorded to your grade book on Module 1 to 3. Okay, so this is the exam. You just do the exam, and it's a very simple exam. It's like a quiz, and you do that. After that, then you go to Module 4, which is talking about access control list. And we'll be looking at wildcard masking, configure access list, access control list, named standard IP version 4 access control list syntax, implement access control list, mitigate attacks with access control list, IP version 6 access control list, and then access control list summary. Module 5, we'll be looking at firewall technologies. And under this, we'll be looking at securing network with firewall, firewall in network design, firewall technology summary. Then Module 6, we'll be looking at zone prevention firewall overview, ZPF operation, configuring ZPF, all right? Then number 7, Module 7, we'll look at cloud security. And in that, we'll look at the concept of virtualization and cloud computing, the domains of cloud security, cloud infrastructure security, cloud application security, cloud data security, protecting virtual machines, and then cloud security summary. Module 8, we'll be looking at cryptography. And under cryptography, we'll be looking at confidentiality, obscuring data, integrity and authenticity, using hashes, public key cryptography, authorities, and the PKI trust system, applications and impact cryptography, and then cryptography summary. We'll be looking at that. After that, there will be a checkpoint exam that you write. You know, you have written the first checkpoint exam. This is the second checkpoint exam to test you from Module 4 to 8. Module 4 to 8. The first one is Module 1 to 3 checkpoint. The second one is module 4 to 8. Then you will now do module 9, technologies, protocols. Under that, we'll be looking at monitoring common protocols, securing technologies and protocols summary. Then module 10, we'll be considering types of security data, end device logs, network logs, and network security summary. Module 11, we'll be looking at sources of alerts, overview of alert evaluation. Then you will write a checkpoint exam. So you will write in 3 checkpoint exam. After the 3 checkpoints exam, then you write the final exam, network defense course final exam, and you should be able to score 70 and above. Okay, you should be able to score 70 and above. The moment you score 70 and above, then you will get your certificate and you will get a digital badge. I may need to say it here, since this is our first class. This course is not for absolute beginners. However, if you are a fast learner, you can be able to catch up. The 3 courses we're taking in this series, we have the endpoint security, and that endpoint security is focusing on protecting the end devices. End devices include your laptops, your desktops, your mobile phones, your servers, your end devices, okay? In forming a network, you need 3 things. You need your end devices, you need your intermediary devices, and then you need your network media, right? So the first course is the end device security. After that, the next one is network defense. Now, in this network defense, our attention is more on the intermediary devices, where you talk about your routers, your switches, your access points, your firewall, and your intrusion detection devices, your intrusion prevention devices, and things like that. That's what this course is all about. And this course is all about defense. Defense means protection. You are protecting, you are preparing for the worst. All right? Preparing for the worst. Now, the next course is the ethical hacking. Now, in the ethical hacking, you see, it's not more about defense, it's more about attacking. Okay? So it's about attacking. This one is about defending. The first one is about protecting the end devices. All right? And all the 3 courses are intermediary level courses. We will find time and do the absolute beginner on the introduction to cybersecurity and the cybersecurity essentials. But for this, I encourage you, this course is going to be worthwhile. But if you are having challenge, you're slowing down, don't give up. Lastly, this course is designed to be self-paced. Self-paced means that I have enabled it so that you on your own, you can continue. If you are fast enough, you think I'm slowing you down, feel free to do all the exams on your own and finish. After all, there are those that have already finished the courses, the exams. What I'm just going to do is, if I click gradebook, and then it will show me all the participants. See, you see all your names here. All your names here that have registered for this course. Okay. So let me see how many people have registered. We have about 122 people have registered for this particular course. I'm sure some of them may not be part of it because probably they are looking for a lighter course. So some of them may go forward or backward or so. I don't know. Okay. So that is the first thing. The second thing about this platform is resources. You see where I click resources. Under resources, we're going to be dealing with a particular application called the packet tracer. Now, the packet tracer is a simulation software. For those of you who are from, I think, Ogun State, I think, is it Ogun State or Osun State? I think Ogun State. I just had a session with you guys and we started this particular course. I think we took the first two modules with you, Module 1 and 2. I'm not sure we took Module 3 or probably also Module 1 to 3, and we stopped on the way. If you are from that particular state, you can continue. Now, these resources, you will see their packet tracer, and it's a simulation software. If you don't have it, you can download it. You can download it from your profile. All right. Now, this profile that you have, you can gain access to all sort of materials. You see all this I can download here. You can download the packet tracer activities. All right. And the lab activities, you can download them here. Okay. So you download them, install them on your system, and then we'll be doing some of them. Now, remember, you are going to be doing a lot of the work on your own. I'm just going to be the instructor to guide you through. Okay, so we'll take the class sessions and then you will continue the remaining on your own. Having said this, we'll move to the next aspects of our course, which is the lecture proper. And then we'll take the lecture proper, after which we will now take the packet tracer. So let me share my screen. Okay. So, Module 1, we'll be looking at understanding defense. Understanding defense. Okay, coming. Share it again. Right. All right, so okay, understanding defense. In this particular chapter, we'll be focusing on defense in depth. All right, we'll be looking at defense in depth. And defense in depth is explaining how defense in depth strategy is used to protect networks. Remember, this course is most beneficial to network administrators. If you are managing your network, this course is really for you. Or if you intend to pursue a career in network management, especially securing network management or network administration, this course is for you. All right. If you also intend to do that in the future, this course is for you. All right. Then we'll look at defense in depth. Then we'll look at cybersecurity operations management. And we'll be explaining how an organization monitors cybersecurity threats. Then we'll be looking at security policies, regulation, and standards. And here we'll be explaining security policy, regulations, and standards. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. Now, looking at defense in depth. Cybersecurity analysts must prepare for any type of attack. All right. It is their job to secure the asset of the organization's network. To do this, cybersecurity analysts must first identify assets, vulnerabilities, and threats. Okay. Assets are anything of value in an organization that must be protected, which could include your servers, include your infrastructure devices, your routers, your switches, your firewall. It could also include your end devices. End devices could be your laptop, your desktop, your IP cameras, your wireless devices, and all whatnot. But the greatest asset you have is your data. All right? It's your data. That's your asset. So as a network analyst, you need to identify your assets. The next thing you need to look at is your vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities is a weakness in a system or its design that could be exploited by a threat actor. Okay, a threat actor is someone who wants to maliciously gain access to your network or to your resources without your permission. So they actually capitalize on your weaknesses. So your weaknesses are your vulnerabilities, where you are most vulnerable. So if you're a network administrator, know your assets. The next thing you need to take note of is your vulnerabilities. Then the third thing you need to take note of is threats. The various threats that could potentially be of harm to you. Okay. And if you know that, it will be very good. Now, identifying your assets. The collection of all the devices and information owned or managed by an organization are assets. The assets constitute the attack surface that threat actors could target. An organization goes so to do its assets. So consider the number of assets a large organization would have to protect. Have you observed that of recent banks are beginning to have problems? They have a lot of assets they need to protect. And because they have a lot of assets they need to protect, threat actors are working night and day to gain access to a vulnerability that they will do. I heard on the radio, on the television, I think it's Arise TV or so, where they were showing that some people's balances has been taken down to zero in their bank accounts because the banks are doing upgrades. And so because of that, somebody took advantage of a vulnerability and decided to cash in. All right. So your job is to protect that. Now, asset management consists of inventorying all the assets and then developing and implementing policies and procedures in order to protect them. Organizations need to identify where critical information assets are stored and how, access is gained to that information. You can classify your assets into different categories. So asset classification assigns an organization's resource into groups based on common characteristics. The most critical information needs to receive the highest level of protection and may even require special handling. If you see, for instance, the way security agencies work, if the president is moving in a convoy, and in that convoy, there may be governors, in that convoy, there may be senators, in that convoy, there may be ministers, and there may be other dignitaries. Now, observe how they do. All these people are protected, but some within the same convoy are protected more than others. Okay? They look at the one with the highest priority and then give him the most, protected covering. So it's the same thing in your network. When you look at your network, what are your core devices? You know, for those of you who may not know, networks are categorized into 3 layers. You know, first of all, before we go to that, I said you have end devices, you have intermediary devices, then you have another end device. So in between the end device and the intermediary device is a network medium. All right. The network medium may be cable or wireless. Now, irrespective of this, your network is structured into what they call the hierarchical model. In the hierarchical model, you have the core layer, then you have the distribution layer, then you have the access layer. Now, the core layer is where your core devices are. Your core router, your edge router, your core switch, your core firewall, all these core things, the DMZ is there, your servers are there, all those are the core device. They are the core layer. The distribution layer. So in the core layer, the major the major activity that takes place is the routing and traffic control. Okay. The distribution layer is where you distribute to the various segments of your network. Maybe various departments, various faculties, various segments of your network and stuff. Then access layer is where the end user gains access into your network. So when you are protecting your network, you need to know where you lay your priorities to. And the most critical information needs to receive the highest level of protection. All right? Is it your data, where your servers are? Is it your core routers and things like that? So a labeling system can be used to determine how valuable, how sensitive, and how critical the information is. The steps for identifying and classifying your assets as follows. Step 1, determine the proper asset identification category. How do you do that? You look at the information assets, you look at the software assets, you look at the physical assets, and you look at the services. All right? After that, you look at step 2, establish asset accountability by identifying the owner of each information asset and each piece of software. How do you do that? Identify the owner of all the information assets. Identify the owner of all application softwares. All right? If you do that, you're good. Then, number 3, determine the criteria for classification. All right? How do you do your classification? Determine the criteria. You have confidentiality, you have value, all right? You have confidentiality, you have value, you have time, you have access rights, you have destruction, all right? Then number 4 says implement a classification schema. Adopt a consistent way of identifying information to ensure uniform protection and easier monitoring. One of the rules when you are setting up network is documentation. Documentation is very key, especially as a network administrator. You may not be there forever. So another person that comes to your network works on your documentation to be able to understand it. But apart from that also, documentation helps you mostly when you are in trouble, when your network has a challenge, when you have a problem and you need to quickly resolve it. You go through your documentation and you're good. So asset standards identify specific hardware and software products used by an organization, right? So when a failure occurs, prompt action helps to maintain both access and security. If an organization does not standardize its hardware selection, personnel may need to scramble to find a replacement component. Non-standard environment require more expertise to manage, and they increase the cost of maintaining contracts and inventory, right? So this is, remember, we're looking at defense in depth, and under defense in depth, we're looking at asset standardization, all right? Now, let's look at asset life cycle stages. We have looked at standardization. Let's look at lifestyle stages. Part of cybersecurity. Sorry, trying to. All right. So part of cybersecurity specialist job is to manage information assets and related systems throughout that asset's life cycle. These stages of assets lifecycle are: one, procurement. Procurement is when the organization purchases the asset based on the needs identified from data gathered, justifies the purchase. The asset is added to the organization's inventory. Unfortunately, maybe some of you that maybe may be working with government agencies or institutions, you know, a contractor just comes and deploys whatever it is that he has been asked to deploy. But the real way that works, you, the network analyst, or you, the network administrator, is the one that is supposed to do is the needs assessment and know the kind of devices that you need when setting up your network. After you have acquired those devices, the next thing is deployment. The asset is assembled and inspected to check for defects or other problems. Staff perform tests and install tags, you know, or barcodes for tracking purposes. The asset move from inventory to in use. Okay, there are some of these devices that may come with factory manufacturing defects or factory defects. It's your job to be able to identify them before deployment. After that, the next thing is utilization. This is the longest stage of life cycle. The asset performance is continuously checked. Upgrades, fixed patches, new licenses, purchase, and compliance audit are all part of the utilization stage. All right. Now, the next one is the maintenance. Now, in the maintenance stage, it helps to extend the asset's productive life. Staff may modify or upgrade the assets. All right. Then after that, disposal. At the end of the asset productive life, it must be disposed. All data must be wiped from the asset. Disposal may include dismantling an asset for parts, okay? Any part that can cause an environmental hazard must be disposed according to local guidelines, right? So this is a very important part. Now, we have looked at assets. The next thing we're looking at is vulnerabilities. Remember what we said about vulnerabilities. Now, identifying vulnerabilities. Threat identification provides an organization with a list of likely threats for a particular environment. It's like when a thief tells you, I'm coming to your house today, but I'm also coming through the gate, or I'm coming through the fence. You see, the thief have told you your vulnerability area where he's going to use to come in. Then if you know that, what should you do? You go and now prepare a defense to protect yourself. Okay, but in most cases, the thief doesn't tell you, I am coming through this. You may know that your thief is coming, but the thief will not say, I'm coming through this, I'm coming by this date, I'm coming through the window. No, he will not tell you that. So it's your job as a network security specialist to find out. So when identifying threats, it is important to ask several questions. Such questions include, what are the possible vulnerabilities in these systems? Who who may want to exploit those vulnerabilities to access. So we're looking at the what, we're looking at the who, all right? And then you now look at the consequences. What are the consequences if those vulnerabilities are exploited and the assets are lost? You know, if you are able to do that thinking and analyze, you will come to a very simple point to understand that, you know, you have a lot to lose when you don't protect your system. Now, let's look at e-banking services, for instance. That's what they call the internal system compromise. If they want to compromise, it's from the internal system. Maybe there is just a desktop or a laptop that the operating system was not upgraded. Or maybe somebody used the computer in the bank to download movies. Or somebody was watching pornography with his own desktop. Or another person is downloading pirated softwares or movies. And by that, you just create a loop. Within the internal system, you know, you have granted access. You know, you can also have what they call the insider attack on the system, which means somebody, because they have gotten the internal system, the system has been compromised internally, or maybe somebody got the password to one of the core devices and things like that, then they'll begin to attack, make necessary changes, or target whatever resources or assets that you have. And after that, sometimes they do what they call data center destruction. They will destroy your data center. How do they destroy it? First of all, they will lock you out. I don't know whether you have seen people that their Facebook have been hacked or their WhatsApp has been hacked and things like that. The first thing the hacker will do is to lock you out, gain control, and then begin to carry out maneuver his or her tactics. All right. Then you have data input errors. You have phony transactions. You have stolen customer data. All those things are things that vulnerabilities can happen. So the threat identification for an e-banking system would include internal system compromise, like we talked about, stolen customer data, phony transactions from external server, phony transactions using stolen customer PIN or smart card, insider attack on the system, data input errors, data center destruction, and things like that. Okay? How do you identify the threats? Organizations must use a defense in-depth. You see, when we're saying defense in-depth, we're looking at defense that goes deep down. Defense in-depth approach to identify threats and secure vulnerabilities, vulnerable assets. It uses multiple layers of security at the edge, within the network and on the network endpoints. So if you have made an attempt to go and see the president in Villa, before you get to Abuja, the number of checkpoints you're going to get. Once you get there, before you get to Aso Rock itself, the number of checkpoints you're going to get. From Aso Rock to the Aso Villa, the number of checkpoints you'll be secured. Once you get to the villa, before you go into the main building, the number of checks you will get. From the building, before you even get to his chamber, the number of checks. So what they are using is the defense in depth. It's the same thing in the network here. You have traffic coming from the internet. First of all, it's going to meet a particular router. This type of router is called the edge router. That's what you see here. The edge router is the first line of defense. All right. It's the edge router that has a set of rules specifying which traffic to allow or which traffic to deny. In subsequent topics, we're going to talk about access list controls, and this is where it will be applied. All right. It passes all connections that are intended for internal network to the firewall. All right. So that is router 1. This is what they call the edge router. So in layman's term, in your own network, you can think about it, imagine it. Your ISP, maybe MTN or Glo or Airtel or Starlink or whoever your ISP is, they will give you a cable link that cable link that you get is where we represent it as the cloud. The device you connect that cable link to is supposed to be your edge router. That device is going to be your edge router. So the configuration you're going to do on that edge router is basically in order to protect the kind of traffic that comes from the internet, right? Now, after that, the traffic is moved to the firewall. That's another device. The firewall is the second line of defense. It is a checkpoint device that performs additional filtering and tracks the state of the connection. So additional filtering takes place here. So the first one, yes, it checks and knows which traffic is going where, and if it is coming to the network, permit it to go. If the traffic is not legitimate, drop it. Okay, so after that, it comes to the firewall. The firewall is another device. Some people call it firewall router. Some people call it, there are different devices. So in that firewall, what happens is that it has more detail of kind of traffic, kind of things that you're going to protect. It protects things in more detail. You can protect even website, you can block websites, you can block traffic, you can block video content, there's a lot you can do on the firewall. All right. So that's another defense. Then from that, then you go to the next one we call the internal router. The internal router. The internal router is another line of defense. All right. It can apply final filtering rules on the traffic before it is forwarded to its destination. So you see, the traffic comes from the internet, and then it has to go through this. There are checks and balances, check and balances. Now, if you observe, if I am moving from wherever I'm moving, destination A to destination B, and it takes me, let's say, 10 minutes to get to destination B. If police decides to come and set up checkpoint 1 and checkpoint 2, you will observe that the distance that I will cover is the same distance, but the time to take me to point B will increase. If military come and set up their own checkpoint, another 2 checkpoints, and immigration set their own, so I have 3, 4, 5, 6, the same distance, but the time it will take me, instead of 10 minutes, it will take me maybe 20 minutes or 30 minutes. The point here is that the more devices you have on your network, on your core network, all right, the higher your latency. Latency is how slow your network will be, the overhead, the traffic overhead on your network. That's just what it means. If you have too many bottlenecks, it will increase your latency. Routers and firewalls are not the only devices that are used in the defense in-depth approach. Other security devices include what we call the intrusion prevention system, advanced malware protection, AMP, web and email content security systems, and then identity services, the network access consoles, and more. You must not have all of these things at once. So no, some of them are just software related, like the intrusion prevention system can be found even in the firewall. You can have firewall of these days. There's what we call the next generation firewalls. The firewalls of these days can have the intrusion detection system and prevention embedded in it. Okay, it can have the advanced malware protection embedded in it. Okay, so if you don't have, then you may have to get a physical device that does that. But the reason we're trying to reduce the number of physical devices is we don't want to increase our latency. We don't want to increase our traffic overhead. It will slow down our network. Okay, so you can have fewer devices that are loaded with all these things. So in a layered, in-depth defense security approach, the different layers work together to create a security architecture in which the failure of one safeguard does not affect the effectiveness of the other safeguards. That is where we talked about redundancy. All right, redundancy and things like that. Now, in the defense in-depth approach, the concept of the security onion is used. Security onion or security artichoke, all right, is used. I'm sure you all know what an onion is, and you see that an onion is layered. There are different layers. This is the asset inside here. This is the asset. But you see there's one layer, there's two layers, there's three, there's four, there's five. There are layers. So a common analogy to use to describe the defense in-depth approach is the security onion. A threat actor would have to peel away at a network defense layer by layer in a manner like peeling an onion. Only after penetrating each layer would the threat actor reach the target data or system. So note, the security onion described on this page is a way of visualizing defense in depth. It is not to be confused with security onion suite of network security tools. All right. So the idea we're looking at here is having multiple devices to protect your asset. So for instance, this is your asset right inside. Then you have hardware devices as one of the layers. You have authentication, authorization, and accounting control as one of the layers. It's a topic we're going to look at. Then you have content filtering as one of the layers. We're going to look at that. You have intrusion detection system as one of the layers. We're going to look at that. You have firewall as one of the layers. So you see all these layers put together can give you that. How about the security attitude? Now, the artichoke is it's not like layer by layer approach. You see, in the security onion, you have to peel one to get two. You have to peel two to get three. You have to peel three to get four and things like that. So it is one type of security. In the security artichoke, it says that the changing landscape of networking, such as the evolution of borderless network, has changed the analogy of the security artichoke, which benefits the threat actor. Threat actors no longer peel away each layer. They only need to remove certain artichoke leaves. The bonus is that each leaf of the network may reveal a sensitive data that is not well secured. The hacker chips away at the security armor along with the perimeter and get to the heart of the thing, which means in the security onion, if they are able to penetrate the first device, there is a high tendency that they may try to penetrate the second one because there are certain information you use to protect the first one, which you may likely use to protect the second one. So network administrators are fond of using the same passwords across board because they believe it's easier to remember. They are fond of using the same pattern or same format. But now in this concept, look at it. It's not like layer by layer, but all of them are working hand in hand. For instance, you create passwords, is a security policy. You have what they call client-side attack. You have your database, you have your web applications, you have your buffer flow, and each one is like independent on its own. All right, each one is an independent on its own. So when the hacker attacks one aspect, it's easier to get the other aspect. So to make sure that data and infrastructure remain secure, an organization should create different layers of protection. All right, so we have what we call the layering. To make sure data and information remains available, an organization must set up different layers of protection, creating a barrier of multiple defense that work together to prevent attacks. So limiting access to data and information reduces the possibility of a security threat. So an organization should restrict access so that each user only has the level of access required to do that job. So you don't give a particular user things that he doesn't need. So diversity, if all defense layers were the same, it will not be very difficult for the cyber criminal to succeed in an attack. The layers must be different so that if one layer is penetrated, the same technique will not work on all the others, which will compromise the whole system. All right. Then we have the obscurity. Obscuring information can also protect data and information. An organization should not reveal any information that cyber criminals can use to identify which operating systems a server is running or which type of equipment software is used. Or, that's why sometimes your server rooms are protected. It's not everybody that should find his way into your server room. Once they know the type of devices you're using and the architecture you have, then it becomes a challenge. Another one is simplicity. Complexity does not necessarily guarantee security. If employees do not understand how to configure a solution properly, such as setting up their accounts using an essentially complex process, this may make it just easy for cyber criminals to compromise the system. So you may have the most sophisticated device on earth. If the person manages it, makes a small mistake about his profile, bam, that one is gone. Then the next one is security operation management. But before we go to security operation management, we're going to look at a packet tracer analogy for Module 1. Then we will come back to this. So, just a moment. Just a moment. Let me share with the packet tracer. All right, here is it. Very good. Okay, now this is the packet tracer that we're going to work with. Now, in this particular software, you will see there are two screens. This is one side where our instructions, what we're going to work with is here. Then this is the other side where we're going to work with. So you see these ones are very, very small. So in order for us to be able to see it very well, I'm going to copy it and paste it in probably Microsoft Word so that I'm coming. Okay, let me share it so that we can be able to see it big enough. Okay. So, all right. So can you see the Microsoft Word? I think it's big enough, right? Okay. Now, here we are saying the objective of this packet tracer activity. We want to investigate devices in a wiring closet. We want to connect end devices to networking devices. Then we will install a backup router. Then we will configure a host name. That's the activity we're going to do. And then the background scenario given to us says the network administrator, the network model in this packet tracer activity incorporates many of the technologies you can master in Cisco Networking Academy courses. It represents a simplified version of how a small to medium business network might look. Most of the devices in the Skewit branch office and the Watron data center are already developed. Now, you see, we will find out what is this branch office and what is this data center. I will show you. It's part of the design. I'll show you where it is. Okay. So it's telling us that they have already been configured. All right. It says you just have to hire. You have just been hired to review the devices and networks that have already been deployed. All right. And it says it is not important that you understand everything you see and do in this activity. Feel free to explore the network and become familiar with the modules, the menus on your own. Hints will also appear after certain amount of time. You can select hint, you can select a hint level with a slider bar in the bottom left-hand corner, right? Note, this activity opens in and focus on physical mode. Many of the packet tracer activities you encounter in Cisco Networking Academy will use logical mode. I will explain that, all right? He says you can switch between these modes at any time to compare the differences, right? So this is it. It says when ready, click next to get started. So I'm going to minimize this, all right? So that we will see here. So this is what we have just read. And they say when we are ready, we should click next. So, right. Let us, where is it? So I want to share. I'm ready now. Good. So now this is what we have. We're going to click next. This is next. Good. So you see in next, they have given us some activity we're going to do here. So to be on the safer side, let me do it this way. And here, let me see if I can. Maybe I'll still copy and paste on the Microsoft Word so that we can follow. Copy it. Then I'll paste it here. All right. So, good. All right. So this is the Microsoft here. So I pasted it now. We're going to now follow the activity one after the other. It says, click on the location to explore the network. Become familiar with the network representation in both logical and physical mode. In physical mode, navigate to areas such as Warrison Data Center and Teleworker Home. All right, so let me just come here. You see this building here? I will just bring my mouse close. If I click, all right, so this is the city. This is branch office. You see, this is Seaward. This is Seaward City. So let me come and look. What about this? This is the Warrington. And you see, this is the Warrington City here. This is the data center. This is the teleworker. So in this city, if I click the data center, Warrington data center, this is the data center. These are the racks in the data center. And you see, these are the details inside the data center. They just want us to be familiar with it first, though. We'll come back to it. All right. Then for the teleworker, this is the teleworker. That teleworker, that's like the telecom station where the person works. All right. The person works. So this is his cushion. This is his smart TV. This is his laptop. We're going to configure all these devices. There's a printer, there's another device, and things like that. Okay. And and then let's check this. This is like a rack where the cables are placed. Let me see if I can zoom it. Can you see? This is the switch that is sitting on it. Uh-oh. Apparently, you cannot see that. Let me add it to the share. Okay. Okay, so I think you should be able to see that now. So, you see, this is the switch. How did I get here? Let me go back. From here, I just clicked here. This is the switch. You see, is the cable for the ISP. Can you see? And the device is the source device is the ISP. The source port is fast Ethernet. Destination device, edge router. Destination port, fast Ethernet, this. And cable length, this cable type. So if I click it, it will bring for me, this is the patch panel. Oh, still, you can't see this. Add it. Okay. So this is the patch panel. So if I click the one here, this one is the switch. It's the switch. Looks like this.
We're not paying. We're not paying. Well, I think so.
Okay, you're not seeing?
We know it now. We can use it to get work.
Okay, can you see it now? All right. So what I'm doing is I'm just navigating through the packet tracer so that we'll be able to see all these things. So we have navigated through it. The next thing I'm going to do.
Waiting the traffic. Budweiser.
Is there a problem?
Thank you very much.
I can hear you at the background. Is there a
Oh,
problem?
we have a band, but I don't
Want to
mind.
leave me here?
Okay, so I guess they're not aware. Let me mute them. Okay. All right, so let's go back to our Microsoft Word and then see the instruction that is there. Then we will come back. All right, so let me share that. Let me share that. This Microsoft this. Okay. So where's the Microsoft? Okay. So we have gone through it. Now, it says most of the devices in the Seward branch and Warrington data center are already deployed and configured. You can explore the devices on the network, which we have done. It is not important that you understand everything you see to do in this. Okay, no, I think we have passed here. Okay, yeah, we're there. All right, in this activity, feel free to explore the network on your own. Hints will appear at certain time. All right. It says you can switch between logical and physical mode. All right. So how do we switch? Let me show you. All right. As you can see here, let me see. All right. So if I want to switch between physical and logical mode, I want you to see this is the logical at the top here. If I click here, you see it has changed. The logical now shows me the devices that are there. So you could see here, most of these equipments are storage shelf. They're in the storage shelf. We have the wireless router, the laptop, the backup router, the IP phone, the backup switch, the backup firewall. They're in there. Then you have the branch office where you have the switches here, the edge router, you know, the web server, the PC, the laptop, and then this. Now, we will come over and we will do the configurations later as we progress through the activity. But for now, I just wanted us to see the logical and the physical view, and then you can click to see the overview. All right. So basically, that is it. This is what you can see. So we will do all this as part of our activities. And if you don't have packet tracer, it would be good that you have the packet tracer. So having said that, we have spent 1 hour now. If you would permit me for us to now take maybe 20 minutes or less, then we call it a day. Okay. So let's now go to, yes, let's now look at cybersecurity operations management. Once we look at this, then I'll take questions and then we will call it a day. Okay. All right. Configuring management. Configuration management refers to identifying, controlling, and auditing the implementation and any changes made to a system's established baseline. The baseline configuration includes all the settings that you may configure for a system, which provides the foundation for all similar systems, like the templates of sorts. Documented configuration resources might include network maps, cable and wiring diagrams, application configuration, specifications, standard naming conventions used for computers, IP schemas, and track IP addresses. All these things are resources that need to be documented. I'm sure some of these terms may be new to some persons, but it may be normal to others. Feel free to let me know if maybe some of these terms are kind of too difficult for you. Then let me know how to explain each time I get to those terms. And then if you think we're too fast, let us know. If you think we're too slow, let us know. All right? Hardening the operating system is an important part of making sure that systems have secure configurations. Configuring log files along with auditing, changing default account name and passwords, and implementing account policies and file level access controls are all used to create a secure operating system. So if your operating system is not secure, then there is a problem. You're already vulnerable. Log files. A log records all events as they occur. If I log into a router, the events that they occur, you will see. All right. Log entries make up a log file, which each log entry containing all information relating to a specific event. All right. So let me see if I can check something. Let me see. Okay. All right, no problem. I was trying to see if I can pull up a particular file, but no problem. All right. As an increasing number of log files are generated for computer security purposes, organizations should consider a log management process. What are we talking about, these log files? It's just a documentation process. So what do we mean? If somebody logs into the router, it will document who logs into the router, when the person logs, what time the person logged, and what the person did. If for any reason a particular device rebooted, when you come to check the logs, it will tell you maybe there was a power failure, it will document, or maybe somebody hacked in, it will document. And if the person hacked in, from where? Is it from internal or external? So the login process is just to document everything that is happening on the network. Okay. As an increasing number of log files are generated for computer security purposes, organizations should consider a log management process. Management of computer security logs should determine generating log files, transmitting log files, storing log files, and things like that. So let me show you, every system has log files. So for my own system, let me see if I can share my screen. All right, let me share my screen so that you will see. I will show you logs for my system. Where is it? All right. All right, so you see, for my system, if you have Windows system, you can just go to Event Viewer. Then you will see Windows logs. Under Windows logs, you have logs for the applications. You have logs for security. You have logs for setup. You have logs for system. You have forwarded logs, Then you have application and service logs. All these are logs of things that are happening on the system. There's the one for Microsoft also, and so on and so forth. So, for instance, if I want to find out what happened, let me pick maybe application. Now, you see, on this date, 21st, today is 21st of October. If I click this log, it will tell me successfully scheduled. Okay, you can't see that one. Let me share it. Let me share that one. Okay. All right, so can you see now? Because I just clicked that, it says successfully scheduled software protection services for restart. And the reason is rule engine. So this is a log that was scheduled, an event log for my system. If I want, I can check for another log. You see another one that happened today is also for security. So, well, there are so many of them. Can you see them? There's even the warning log, and you'll see it here. This is it. If you click, this one is information, you will see it here. So it keeps logs of everything that happens on your system. On your system. If you want to look for system logs, for error logs, you look at it, the server could not bind the transport, you will have to interpret this and things like that. So for your network devices, you also have logs. And we are saying that logs are part of security, because if you want to find out what is going on, you need to follow the logs very patiently. Okay? Operating system logs and application security logs. Operating system logs record events that are linked to actions that have to do with operating system, right? Include client requests and server responses, such as successful user authentications. usage information that contains the number and size of transactions. Okay, then you have application security logs. Now, after logs, the next one is protocol analyzers. What is a protocol? Protocol is just a rule that governs how you communicate in a particular software or service or something like that. Okay, so you just need something to help you analyze those rules. So packet analyzers, otherwise known as packet sniffers, intercepts the logs of traffic. Now, let me show you guys something. When we say packet sniffers or packet analyzers, this is software that can help listen to what is happening on your network. Let me show you. The common one is Wireshark. I think I have Wireshark here. Yes, I do. So let me share my screen so that you'll be able to see the Wireshark. All right. So this is the Wireshark. Let me close this. This is the Wireshark. And you may want to find out what is this here. Don't worry. You see, I'm using Wi-Fi, so I click Wi-Fi. If I want to intercept what traffic is going on my network now, all I just need to do here, if I say start capture, can you see it is capturing? It's capturing all the traffic. Even if I run a ping, if I'm trying to test maybe Google, if I'm doing a ping or whatever it is that I'm doing, as I'm browsing, we're doing this streaming, is capturing. Can you see? So, and this is going on. I can stop the capturing. I can stop the capturing. These are all the data it has captured in how many seconds on my system. Now, if I want to analyze this, I want to find out what is it has captured. First of all, I'll need to filter what am I looking for. So since we're just starting, let me find out. You see, I run a ping on my system. Let me find out ICMP. Okay. Now, this is the ICMP. ICMP is a protocol that we use to do ping. All right. And what did I ping? I ping google.com. Let me find out if this system has captured it. So, for instance, if I click this one here, all I just need to do is come down here and then I check. You see what it will tell me? It will tell me the destination. It will tell me the source MAC address. Can you see if I click here? This is the source MAC address. And here, this is the destination MAC address. That's between my system and the router. And then it will tell me the IP address. What is the IP address of the source? The source is 192.168.0.140. That is the IP address of my laptop. The destination is what? 172.217.20.206. This is the IP address of Google DNS. When I ping Google, it will now check for that. Look at it. This is what it's giving us here. I can find out so many information. And did Google reply? Let's find out. You see, this is the ping reply here. If I check the ping reply, you will see the source now has changed. The source is the IP address of Google. The destination is my system. The protocol used is IP version 4, and this is the header. You see, this is the frame. We can interpret this, and in fact, even if you are trying to log in to to maybe a browser, it can check your what do they call it now? Your username and password. It can check. So let me see if we can capture something. Okay, no, let me cancel. All right. So anyway, let me not waste time. It will come to a time that I'm going to show you much about this particular sniffing tool so that assuming you find yourself in your network, you want to test whether your network is secure, you want to test certain things, you can use this tool. So I'll show you how to use it. So the tool I just used is called Wireshark. This is Wireshark here. There's another one called TCP dump. We'll look at it along the line. There's another one called the EtherCab. There's the KeysMap. There's the ngrep, especially for Linux users. There is the ntop, very, very important. There is the Ether API. You know, these are tools that you can use for logging, you can use for sniffing, you can use to check your traffic. So we'll stop here. For today, and I will give the opportunity if anybody has a question, let us know. Question. For those of you who joined late, I will be uploading the recordings on the website. You just go to ncs.org.ng/cybersecurity. Then you will see the recording there, hopefully by tomorrow. And then you can share with your colleagues who may have missed the class as well. All right. So is there a question? If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and let me know. But if you don't have a question, then I think we can call it a day. All right. Any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I see a hand. I see Silas. Silas, you have a question?
Yes, sir. Mr. Sachi, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Uri Silas. Currently, I'm attending this program from Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna.
Okay.
I must start by commenting the effort you are putting in through to make us, acquire the necessary skills as regard the subject matter of cybersecurity.
Okay.
Now, my question is to start with, is there a way are you going to set, number one, are you going to send us some of the materials? The materials, I mean, just the slides, your slides. Is there a way you send it to us? And secondly, is that I wanted to know which version of packet tracer are you using that will be more compatible for this exercise?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. To answer number one, let me share my screen, okay, so that I can show you how you can get the materials. And if you are unable to still get them, then I will now know how to help you get it. Okay, sorry, sharing. All right. Okay, so I've just shared my browser. Earlier on, I showed you that this is the course outline. Now, you see the topic we took today, understanding defense. If I click it here, you look at this side. All you just need to do is scroll. All right. If you scroll, you see this is what we looked at. Defense in depth.
1.0 introduction. Scroll to begin.
Sorry.
1.0 introduction.
I clicked the voice note. Okay, so if I come here, this is what we looked at, the approaches to network security defense. And then if you can scroll down, defense in depth. Under defense in depth, you see asset vulnerabilities and threats. Exactly what I've talked about, identifying the assets, see the materials here. In fact, you have more materials here. What I did was PowerPoint summarizing it, but you have more information here. Asset classification. There's an activity here for you. All right, determine the proper asset identification category. And then step 2, this is it. And this is what we talked about. Okay, you can go to asset standardization. assets life stages. Procurement is a procurement, deployment, utilization, maintenance, disposal. So you see, is here, and then there's an activity can do just to answer and submit. Identify vulnerabilities. This is what we talked about. Okay, so everything we talked about is in your material. See what we talked about, the image and the security onion. This is the security onion here. Can you see? You see the details, security attitude. This is it here. So defense index strategy, layering, limiting, diversity, obscurity, simplicity. So everything, as you scroll down, you will see it ticking by the left. So it shows that you are reading it. You understand? So for instance, if I come to security operations management that we looked at, so as I scroll, observe here, you will see that it begins to check. All right, because it looks as if I've read it. So you see, it will check that one. Configuration management, you know, this is it. So you see, it will check. Log files, what we just talked about. After going through, you see, it will check by the left-hand side. So it will check. So everything that you have done, it will check. So as it's checking, it's recording that you are participating actively in the course and you have read it. And then these are activities for you. You select the answer, just select the answer, then you submit. You can get it wrong and do it again. Doesn't matter, and things like that. So as regards the material, yes, this is where you can get the material. Just log into the platform and then you will be good. The next question is about the packet tracer. I always recommend that you download the latest packet tracer. How do you get the latest packet tracer? It's very simple. There are resources. If you just come to, okay, let me see. Maybe to make it easier, I'm going to just post a link where you can be able to get packet tracer. I think I created a packet tracer course for people. This is the packet tracer course for people in Oyo. Is it Ogun or so? They needed to access. So if I come to resources here, they can download the packet tracer. Okay, if you want to know how to download it, I'll just get the link and post it for us. Look at it here. So resources available, packet tracer downloading. This is, sorry. Okay, so can download it, this link. So this is where you download it. Sorry. Let me, this is where you download it. Okay, so I will just get the link and post it for you. It will just take you to where you can download the latest packet tracer. So to obtain, install a copy of Cisco Packet Tracer, follow the instructions to download. So let's just follow the instructions. Okay, this is where you can download the latest copy. Can you see Packet Tracer for Mac, Packet Tracer for Ubuntu? All right, Packet Tracer for Windows. So these are the installation instructions. So maybe if you click, if I click this, for instance, it will redirect me where I'll start downloading. Look at it, has brought the download link. So maybe let me just copy this link for Windows. Let me drop it in the chat box. Good, let me see. Download Packet Tracer for Windows. So I've just dropped it in the chat box. You can check it. Maybe let me drop it also in the WhatsApp group so that you may all also participate. Come, let me drop it in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So I've dropped it on how you can access it. So you can get the latest there. So I hope I am able to solve your or attempt your question. All right. So I have two more questions. So we'll take these two more questions, then we go. Is there any other person that has question? So Chomi, after Chomi, then we have Muhammad Abubakar Garo. So Chomi, you can ask your question.
Yeah, good evening, all.
Yes, good evening.
Thanks. Please, the first person have asked the question I wanted to ask, but is there a way that we can download it, maybe to have it? Because what you explained now shows that you must be online. But you know that Nigeria now, there's no light. If there's a way that we can download it or print it, something of that nature, maybe you now read and go back. When you now log on or log to this thing, you now answer the questions that are there.
Okay. All right. So maybe what I will do, the best I can do, I can't download the entire curriculum. It's kind of very, very heavy. What we will do is maybe I will maybe send you guys the PowerPoint, since my PowerPoint is offline. But it may not give you every, but it will give you, I think, should I say 85 to 90% of the information. So if you need it offline, then that's where you can get it. Then I will also give you link to the packet tracer activities, like the lab activity that I have done now. So I will also create a link where you download the packet tracer activities for each chapter, for each module. Module 1, we have done that. So for module 2, you will see the packet tracer activities and the lab activities. So maybe you can practice that at your own time. And then when you log back in, you can now do the lab activities. I think that's the only way I can help.
Thank you.
All right. The next is Muhammad Garo, then David Gideon.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
So my question is that because I started using the material, I started attending the class through my material, but the first module I see there, but
sorry, sorry, hold on. I forgot to ask Chomi. When you are asking question, you tell us your name and where you are participating from. Okay, you see the first person gave us his name and it's from Kaduna.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
yes, Chomi, where are you connecting from?
I'm from Anambra, Dr. Choma Ozobi from Anambra.
Okay, thank you very much. Oya Mohammed, can you tell us where you're connecting from?
Yes, I'm from Niger State, but I'm connecting from IBB University.
All right, so go ahead with your question.
My question is the first module I saw on the material, which I click on it, but they're showing me some exercise. That's a test exercise. I said, so is it before you start following the modules, you firstly attempt the question? So that's what I'm asking, because here that I did not see any attempting of question. The module will start with its introduction.
Okay. Sometimes you are new to the course. They just ask, let me see. Yes, look at it, knowledge check. What they call knowledge check. Don't know if you can see that. If you're new to the course, they may just ask what they call knowledge check. And then,
okay.
Sorry, where is it? So if you take my knowledge check, they just ask you some questions. Can you see questions? Yes.
Exactly.
So these questions do not matter. It does not affect your grade. It does not affect anything.
Oh.
It is just to ascertain your level at the point you are taking this course. And then by the time you are done with the course, they will now ascertain your level. So they just use it to say, okay, before you join this course, this is what they have observed. You don't know much of this. But by the time you are done with the course, you have known quite a lot. So there is exchange of knowledge. So but it does not affect your grade. What affects your grade is the checkpoints that we talked about.
Okay.
Checkpoints for
okay. But sir,
checkpoint.
Okay, but sir, because I did not complete the I did not complete the attempting the question. Can I continue, or I should ignore
Yes.
it and continue my?
It's optional. It's optional. It's not compulsory. If you can do it, it will be very good. My recommendation to you all, you see this platform and the courses you are doing now generates what we call a transcript, because this course is worldwide, and you can use the certificate. You can tender the certificate anywhere in the world. So there are organizations or agencies that may want to verify your level of interaction, whether you have done it very well. So they do contact the academy, and then we can now check your transcript. Okay, we will check your transcript to see your performance. For instance, let me show you. Let me go to a different course. Let me go to a different course that I think the students have gone far. Okay, I think Ogun. No, where is it? Where is it? Let me check this. Okay. Now, for instance, now this particular course, all right, is the workshop that was done by participants in the NCS International Conference. All right. And this particular person, let me see. Let me pick somebody that has completed. Very good. You see, this particular person, for instance, has completed. So if I click his name, you'll see that I can generate his transcript. He has done module 1. This is what he scored. Module 2, module 3, module 4. This is his average. This is, so he has a transcript. So for all the courses that he takes in Cisco Academy, there's a transcript. Okay, and then it will even tell you the number of attempts that the person has taken to do. It will tell you the dates that the person has done this particular assessment, because the person has he has certificates. Okay, this person has certificates. So you see all of them. See another person here has the, and then it will give the total grades. You know, so my advice is good to do the checkpoints exams. When you do the checkpoints, then do the final exam. It's really helpful. It would help you. So
Okay, sir.
The last person that will
Thank you
for today is David Gideon.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm David Gideon from Joseph Sawantaka University, Makurdi, formerly University of Agric, Makurdi.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah, I was following the course, running the course, and I downloaded the packet tracer. It redirected me to another section where I had to run a course. But what I discovered that it's not allowing me to use the packet tracer without first logging in to do the course on using the packet tracer. I don't know if I'm the only one encountering that problem, and I don't know if there's a way I can use the packet tracer without having to go through to do that course. Thank you.
Okay. I think I now understand what you guys are going through. So what I will do is I'm going to download the packet tracer and drop it in maybe a cloud storage, maybe OneDrive or Google Drive. Once I do that, then I will send you guys the link so that you can access it. Instead of just the packet tracer, I will create a folder. I will put the PowerPoints in it. I will put the packet tracer in it. I will put, what do they call it? The other, the lab activities. I'll put it inside, and then I'll put all the information that you will need in the class. Then I will send you the link, maybe via WhatsApp or on the website, whichever one or both. then you'll be able to now download it. You don't need to go and take any course or things like that. So you can just download it. So I think
because I had serious challenges using the packet tracer earlier in the day.
okay, all right. So I'm sorry about that. So I'll ensure that we do that by tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much.
Morning.
Appreciate
it. All right.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Munir Lawal.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Sati, sir.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you for the wonderful lecture. Please, I have a question
okay.
pertaining the packet tracer.
You are joining from where?
I'm from Jos.
Okay, so you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Please, sir, pertaining the Cisco packet tracer.
Yes.
Can you use the executable one?
Of course.
Because when I want to download from Cisco, I realize that when it gets to 40-something%, it's declined.
That's why I'm saying I'm going to dump it on a cloud storage, then share the link with you guys so that you can be able to download it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir.
And gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you for your session. We'll have another session tomorrow. Tomorrow is what? Tuesday? Okay, no. Our next session is on Wednesday, right? I guess so. Let me see. Our classes are Sundays, Monday, Wednesday. So we will meet on Wednesday to continue. Thank you very much. Have a very good night rest.
Thank you so much, sir. We're grateful.
Thank you, sir.
We are grateful. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.